So I did this last year and I got second, and I've been staring at that second place check on my wall for a year. So I'm back for first. You guys better watch out. So I entered 3 businesses. I'll go over those 3 businesses. So in 2008, when I got off my mission, I was working at YView, and if you can't tell, that's hair that I pulled out of a drain. And so while I was working there, I was like, this sucks. I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And I was relying on other people to provide for me, and no one wants to marry someone who does that. If you do that, no offense or anything, but my wife didn't. So I met her, I liked her. I guess she liked me back. We kept that going, finished the semester, and when we finished, we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? So she's like, I want to go back to Texas where I'm from, and I'm like, cool, I'll go there and sell alarms. That lasted about a week, and I was like, forget that. So we had an opportunity to buy and sell some cars. I had $1,200 saved up from pulling hair, so I was like, okay, let's do this. So I bought a car for $400, sold it the next day for $1,400, and I bought another one for $800 at the same time. Sold that one for like $1,500 a couple days later, and was like, let's do it. So all summer long, we bought pieces of junk like this and sold them. And we started with $1,200. At the end of the summer, we had $12,000. So we're like, hey, we're not bad at this. So we got married. And then we moved back to Provo. We bought a house and was born Lighthouse Management. None of you have ever heard of it. None of you will ever hear of it again. It's a holding company that keeps me protected from people who want to sue me. I made my wife remodel the whole house. She's good at that. Just kidding. I helped her. But that is her sanding the floors. So after that, we finished the semester. Spring was coming up, and we're like, we should start a real business. So that's what we came up with. Turned it into this. Shaved ice shack, really simple, low capital, low overhead, low everything. Not going to get a lot of trouble if we screw it up. So we went with it. Bootstrapped it, obviously. My wife brought in most of the customers. She's cute. So from there, we're like, well, that makes some money. I was trying to sell these cars, and I was buying them in Utah, and I was making like $200 a car, $300 a car, and I was like, this is not worth it. Why can't this work? So I found this other auction, and I bought this beautiful piece of junk for $600, sold it the next day for $1,500, and I was like, yes, back in the game. So the next week, I bought these 2 cars. I flipped them both within the week and made $4,000. So the next week, I bought these cars and a couple more, had them all parked outside of my house, totally illegal. Don't tell the cops. Sold them all, made good money, and realized I had to start a dealership. So Dekine Auto was born in September of 2010. We had a mechanic shop and everything. That semester, we just killed it. We made a ton of money for not knowing what we're doing at all. But we did very well, and we're very happy with it. At the end of that semester, we had an internship, and we went to Belgium and France and everywhere else you can imagine in Europe. Ashley fell in love with the waffles. She stayed with me amazingly through the backpacking and everything. And when we got back, we're like, we're doing a waffle place. And so we're like, this is the place, obviously. How could you not do it here? So we picked this place. It is the junkiest ghetto. I don't know how we made this work. We hired a really good repairman. I lugged this waffle iron. It's like 100 pounds, like no joke, 100 pounds, across Belgium, put it on the plane, brought it back. This is what we had to work with when we started. It's like a 140 square foot room. And that's it. It was a paintball store before, and they trashed it. So I hired, like I said, my repairman. She fixed the place for me. Her and I spent days and nights, because I was still running the dealership at this time, right? And so at night, I would come here and work until midnight, 1 in the morning. Tenants are banging on the walls, the normal stuff. Finally, we got it open. The Awful Waffle was open. We had help from people like David Archuleta, who tweets us and yeah, they're awesome. And then people come and we're like, okay, this is great. We're doing good. We thought we were doing great because we had the Shaved Ice Shack, we had the Awful Waffle, and we had the dealership. We were doing all 3 at once, but I didn't plan for one thing. Opening a restaurant is a money pit, and it costs so much money. So I exhausted most of my car buying capital into the Awful Waffle. So what happened? I crashed, and then I burned. We were out of money, and the Awful Waffle generates money, but it's not like the car dealership was. That generates so much more money. So I had these partners, and this is why I closed the dealership. Everything was up for renewal, and I didn't think I could do it myself. I didn't have confidence. So I partnered with these guys, and it lasted for 2 months. And I was broke as a joke. We had $10,000. So we were like, okay, the Awful Waffle needs to offer lunch items instead of just sweets. So we put this range hood thing in there that cost 10 grand. And then we found out we were pregnant while we were broke as a joke. So nothing like that to motivate you to make more money. So we got our head in the game. We checked a couple times, we were worried. It's expensive. So from there, I borrowed, I scraped, I stole. I didn't own any of these cars. I didn't own any of these, but I sold them all and I made a little bit of money and I kept doing it and kept doing it. January, we made a ton of money. I sold one car and lost $8. February was a little bit better, and then March came, went from 28,000 in sales to 128,000, 1 month. I was getting guidance from some great people at the Entrepreneurship Center. They helped us, and tax returns helped too. People buy cars with tax returns. The rest of the year, it went well. I'm gonna show you some year-to-year stats. So total, 942,000. I am the sole owner of this business. We did 942,000 in sales, and I started with nothing. Not one dime. Everything was borrowed, and if it wouldn't have gone well, I would have been done. Done. Like, lost my house, done. So, last January, February, we did 32,000 in sales. This January, February, almost 1,000% increased. 285,000 in sales. And this year, that's what we're going for. 3 million in sales is the goal. This is our lot today. Picture was taken with my phone, sorry. But instead of 6 cars, we have 50 cars. We sell 10 a week as opposed to 10 a month. We have grown the business and it is growing like crazy. Now we do financing for people. So not only do we make retail sales, we'll finance them, and that creates huge margin for us. So, like I said, I'm crazy, so I'm really good at buying stuff online. Like today I bought $20,000 worth of cars and I've never seen them. I haven't even seen pictures of some of them. So we're just gonna hope they work well. But I bought this truck online, $35,000, and it was in Vermont. So I got on a plane and flew to Vermont, got my CDL really quick. Never had driven a manual semi-truck. Drove it from Vermont to here in 3 days. Started the semi-truck transportation business because, like I said, we're selling 10 cars a week. How are we going to get them all to our dealership? It's $500 to ship each car. I can't afford that. So it was a way to create vertical integration that failed miserably. We couldn't license it. I sucked at, well, I could get by with driving it, but it wasn't pretty. So basically, that was a failed venture. My dog was there the whole time, though. She helped me through it. But something interesting happened. I bought it for $35,000. I spent $5,000 on it, but I still sold it for $44,000. So I still made money on it, even though it was an experiment and everything. So there's some interesting things that we do at the Car Depot that's different. And these are some goals that we have. We want a bigger location. I mean, half our lot is mud. We're looking for new financing options. We finance everyone. We have people in tears in our dealership because we get them into a car that gets them a job. Without their car, they don't have a job. We sell the loans that we do to keep our cash flow up. We're in the process of opening another lot in Vegas. And these are the 2 awards we're gunning for in 2014. Now, this is our target market. You guys, students, young people like us, low-income families, high school students. That's who we sell to at the Car Depot. That's who we are. That's how we know our market. And that's who we sell to here. That's why we're open until midnight, so you guys can eat nice and late at night. Now, something interesting happened last year. We did all this money, spent everything on building our range hood and all that. And then these guys come up and they're like, hey, we're super rich. We're peak capital. We're building the nicest apartment complex in Utah. Do you want to move your waffle place in there? And we're like, well, yeah. Well, actually, at first we're like, well, no, because we just spent all this money. But then they convinced us to. So we moved over there, and I spent the summer being like a construction foreman or something for this 5,000 square foot restaurant that we built. I also had to open a pizzeria and figure out how to do that and run a market, which I'm still not very good at, but we're getting there. This is the last day that we're in business at our awful waffle that we'd opened and bootstrapped and did our whole thing with. The baby is now here, and that was in August of 2012. That's all people, and it's like super full. So the Awful Waffle opens over there and just starts killing it. We still have celebrity support, but look, something interesting happened. Our revenues, we opened, our revenues are bigger than they've ever been. Profits are lower than they've ever been. We hired a manager. The manager was not good at managing. He should not call himself that. So he lost us money month after month. We fired him in November. My wife took back over as manager, and we've been profitable every month since. She is fantastic at managing it, and she's usually there. You'll see her if you go. But when she was managing it like over here, you can see how profitable we were, even in that tiny location. So there's some big goals that we have. We want to get sauces into other restaurants, sell them the frite sauce that we make. We want more students eating more waffles. We want to work on a second location. And profits in the waffle. So every dollar, so far this year, from the Car Depot and the Awful Waffle, we've paid ourselves $300. $300. How do we live? Don't worry about it. We pay ourselves almost nothing because we want to build the businesses as quickly as possible. We employ 35 people, 8 full-time employees at the Car Depot, and 27 part-time employees at the Awful Waffle. We have them do the work so that we can work on the business. Time. You guys want to hear the rest, I know you do. So they'll ask some good questions and you'll get to find out the rest.
My first question, could you finish really quick in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I can finish pretty quick. So our goal for this year, Awful Waffle did $275,000 last year. We're going to go for $400,000. We want to be working on opening the next restaurant and selling sauces like these. We want to have 3 operating locations in the next 5 years, Dallas being the 3rd. We want to be selling all these different items. We want to do that much for each sale and that much in retail, which are those items are retail. Car Depot, we're going to do $3 million. We're going to open a lot in Las Vegas. We're going to have a finance portfolio of $500,000. We want to have those 5 locations the next 5 years, $5 million per location, $2 million in loans each year. And that's what makes us different. We're going to offer all of that and be willing to finance it to anybody. Doesn't matter if you buy a car from us or not. That's Scout. And they didn't show that I did $1.4 million in total sales last year. That was supposed to be right there. I don't know why that wasn't. But that's what we did last year. We're doing $3.5 million this year. $3.5 is the goal for this year.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The car sales, you mentioned 942,000 within the car sales.
Yes.
What was your margin?
Our average at the beginning of the year, so when you saw that like $32,000 for last January, February was like $500-$600 a car. Now we're into the $1,500-$1,600 per car, and we make as much as $5,000-$6,000 on some cars.
Did you have a general percentage for the entire 942? What your margin is overall?
I think it was between 15 and 20%.
Okay. Thanks.
Am I on here? I absolutely love your story, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, that's just so funny. Okay, now my question for you, how are you going to do this all? Because it sounds to me like you're running 2 businesses and in 4 or 5 locations, and it's just you and your awesome wife and your beautiful baby. So how are you going to do it all?
I'll tell you a secret. My wife does a lot of the Awful Waffle. She bounces ideas off me, but you can't tell the judges. They might dock me. No, she really does. She does a great job. We have a great team. That February to March last year, that jump was when I hired my salesman, who's still currently there. He's now the sales manager. We have 2 salesmen. Well, we have 3 total salesmen, and we're trying to hire more. The car industry it's a commodity industry, and it's very easy to create a blueprint and copy it. And so we have one of the guys who's there working with us right now. His plan is to open the Vegas lot this summer, and I'll basically supervise it. I'm there regularly buying cars, so I can check up on him. The Awful Waffle, we have great managers. We do have part-time employees only, but we have awesome assistant managers who could be the manager of the next location rather than appointing somebody, have somebody work their way up to that position. That's kind of our plan for expansion.
You kind of touched on a few points. So a good mentor of mine told me the word scope creep, and Erica just touched on it. You're doing a lot of things. You got a lot of waffles in the fire.
That's what I do.
Which one do you enjoy the most?
I prefer the cars. Cars are my passion. I am going to be a race car driver someday. Watch for me. My wife loves cooking. She loves art. She loves that kind of thing, and that's her passion, and so I just support her in it, That's what we
What do you do in the car business different than anybody else that's already in the car business?
We finance, like I said, we finance people. We take risks on people, but we do it in a very careful way that we've lost money on 1 car so far. 1. We sold 200 cars last year. Financing. There's bad buys that happen, but financing, we lost money on 1 car. So.
In the car business, how do you break down your profit between the financing side? Obviously, your margins are higher on the financing. Yeah. How much of your profit's coming from the financing of the vehicles versus the purchase and sale?
So part of it is how many we do. So we probably retail 3 cars for every 1 we finance. I'd say we make as much on the 1 we finance as the 3 we retail. So if we make $4,500 on the 3 we retail, we make $4,500 on the 1 we finance as well. So Does that answer your question?
Sure. As you become bigger in this market, how do you protect yourself from, there's obviously many large dealerships and used dealers as well. They'll start focusing in more and more on your business as time goes by. How do you protect yourself from that going forward?
You know, so here's what a lot of used cars dealers will do. They'll start out in the low cheap cars like us, and then they turn into low book sales, which sells $20,000 cars. You can't buy a $5,000 car from low book sales. In seeing that happen, and a lot of dealerships don't turn into low book sales, they fail. Our goal is to stay in that $5,000 pocket for the next 5 years. That's in our plan, is to stay in that range, because that's what we do and we're good at it.
So only paying yourself $300 is honorable, but it seems like you're devaluing yourself a little bit. Talk to me about that.
I use every dollar in profit that I make, I use to do more loans, because we make so much money in loans. The only company that I pull money from is Lighthouse Management. It's not a ton of money, but I don't have to pay for a car. My wife and I have cars that are provided by the dealership. I don't have to pay for a house. That company pays for a house. I've made it. I don't have to buy food. The Awful Waffle feeds me every day. I'm good, you know? A lot of my expenses, that's what makes me different as an entrepreneur. I figure out how to have other stuff pay for everything so that I can live for free, in essence.
So you took second place last year. Last question, what's going to help you get first place this year?
Well, my presentation's a little bit better, a little bit more organized, and I actually know my sales and stuff, so that should help. And I've learned so much since last year that last year I didn't deserve it, and I don't know if I deserve it this year or not, but I know I didn't deserve it last year, and I'd like to think that this year I do.